In more news, Foreign Secretary Lord David Cameron is to warn Israel over the lack of aid reaching Gaza.
20 children have starved to death, according to the Hamas-run health ministry in the Strip.
talkTV special correspondent Douglas Murray joins us. Douglas, good morning. Listen, we've discussed this till we're blue in the face. The atrocities of September, and yet the world watching this humanitarian crisis is up in arms. Why is it that Lord David Cameron seems to be more, I'm trying to find the right word for you, Douglas, forceful? Is it because he's the Foreign Secretary? Is he speaking for the government? Or the fact that he's seen Benny Gantz, the guy, he's saying these things? Is it him or is it the government's approach, in your opinion?
I'll tell you who's approached it. It's actually his counterpart in America, Anthony Blinken. Blinken and the Democrats want to put pressure on Israel, and they're using our Foreign Secretary, David Cameron, as their front man. It's really as simple as that. The Israelis don't need to be told that there is a bad situation in Gaza. They know that very well because young men and women of the IDF are there every day, and they're trying to get the hostages back, and they're trying to destroy Hamas. And David Cameron, at the moment, is in a very strange position. Israel is trying to put out the fire of Hamas, and David Cameron is saying you're allowed to put out 3/4 of the fire, but no more. As you know, if you put out 3/4 of the fire, that's not putting out the fire. You need to extinguish the whole thing. Now, the whole thing is Hamas. It's not the citizens of Gaza, but the citizens of Gaza are having their fuel, their aid taken from them now, as it has been for the last 18 years by Hamas. What is Israel to do when every aid truck that goes in is immediately seized by Hamas to make sure that its own leadership continues to be well fed and continues to ignore the people of Gaza? Israel already cares more about the peoples of Gaza. Britain already cares more about the peoples of Gaza than Hamas does. And Hamas is running the place.
Douglas, what's the answer then to the humanitarian crisis? What is the answer to the children who are starving? You're saying there that Hamas have been intercepting trucks. Obviously, some of the aid has been getting through to civilians. But what is the answer to it? Because surely Israel also don't want to have those deaths on their hands.
Well, they're not on their hands. They're on Hamas's hands. I mean, if Hamas seizes aid trucks after a war that it started, I don't think that's on Israel. I mean, it's a very strange thing that every time Israel is expected to send aid to the place which harbors its enemies, and no other country in war is expected to do that. There is plenty of aid in Gaza. It's just it keeps on being seized by Hamas. We even have footage of the American aid drop the other day, immediately seized by Hamas. So I'm afraid that's on Hamas, as it would be if people claimed that in the Second World War, any starvation of Germans was the responsibility of the British rather than the responsibility of the Nazis.
But just Hamas, really quickly, Douglas, I'm so sorry, we have to go shortly. Is the answer then simply to just let people starve?
No, not at all. And nobody is letting people starve. Israel keeps on allowing aid to go in, and it keeps on being seized by Hamas. Every death since this conflict began is on Hamas. And if you want to apply pressure anywhere, I really urge you, apply the pressure on Hamas. The problem is that they don't listen.
Douglas, I'm so sorry, we haven't got more time. I know that you're on Talk tomorrow. Tune in, team, from 10 a.m. Douglas Murray will be here live with all of that and more. But we just... Thank you, Douglas. We have to...